On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The Fraud Father. Someone came up with the meme. That wasn't me. But incredible. We've got a lot going on. A lot of attention is being put on this. And what we're finding is these sorts of things are existing all over the place. We're going to be talking about it and a number of other things. We've got some interesting news, weird news. We've got a few things to talk about today. Like always, starting off here, a beautiful video from the Genesee County Jail in Flint, going viral after inmates gather for Christmas prayer, which is pretty cool. I don't know what all the yelling is, but at least they're doing the Lord's Prayer somewhere in there. Barely understand what the hell they're saying. Bad train crash happened in Mexico. Oaxaca, something like that. Oaxaca? I think it is. Oaxaca. Yeah, I think so. Anywho, it is a pretty bad train crash. 13 people have passed away. There was 250 on there. And, a number of people injured, but a lot of people are okay. Pretty bad train crash. I don't think we understand exactly what happened yet. All this is written in Spanish too, which slows me down quite a bit when it comes to trying to figure it out. That's for sure. Yeah, my Spanish is meh. So yeah, we'll find out if anything more comes from that. The pipe bomber suspect told the FBI he targeted U.S. political parties because they were in charge. That's very strange. First off, that's just strange, right? This dude's just some schmo. Some schmo. No special training. Made 2 pipe bombs. Delivered both of them to political parties on a day where they actually used this as a means of causing fear and panic. And what? Now all of a sudden we find it? None of this actually makes any sense. Now the guy finally got busted. He did it. He's guilty. This is got MK Ultra written all over it. And again, a lot of that's just multiple personalities. And so certain personalities will do things and you're just, they're unaware. I mean, again, I don't know. It's just very strange. Nothing about this makes any sense. They could have caught this guy forever ago, and they didn't. And yet here we are now. And he's admitting, I didn't like either political party. I was mad at both of them. They're the ones that are responsible for the failed election. And that's what he was saying, that the election was stolen. It's very strange. Either he's trying to paint himself as a Trump supporter, or he actually, I have no idea. No idea. Certainly very, very strange, though. At least 28 people were shot over the Christmas long weekend in Chicago. Yeah. Totally don't need any help with National Guard or anything there, Chicago, do you? No. You guys are taking care of your problems very well. Very well. 28 people shot over the weekend. I'm not sure how many of them died, though. Hopefully not many. Not sure if they give that number. Not necessarily important. Many shot. That's not good. Education Department, they've rejected over 300,000 requests for people to lower student loan repayments. Now, there's still a whole bunch of them in the pipeline, but they are going to begin they're going to begin garnishing wages, I believe, starting January. To get to that point, you have to go something like 270 days without payment, and then they can actually go to that point. Legally, they can take, I think, up to 15% of your paycheck and apply it towards your debt, basically. Yeah, 270 days, 15%. This is worth roughly, they're saying there's 43 million student loan borrowers currently, and it totals about $1.62 trillion. Now, think about how this, again, is more government money that goes to a specific bureaucracy, in this case, education, which we know is not a good place. And to be dumping money, it's made education way more expensive. It's made these people pretentious, or even more pretentious than they already were. And now we're finding a lot of these universities are doing the DEI, doing this crazy stuff, teaching the communism. And they're getting $1.62 trillion of our money, well, their money, to do it, but it's been given to them already as a loan. We're responsible for it. If these people just walk away from the debt somehow and we can't ever find them again, that's on our pockets. That's just kind of strange, right? And then I know we're supposed to feel bad for people, that have student loan debt. First off, if you got a lame degree, that was not smart. And then if you thought you weren't going to have to pay it back, you just get to go to school for free and somehow that degree means something. If it didn't cost you anything, then it's not worth anything, right? Again, I didn't go into debt like this with student loan. In fact, I did my 2-year degree. That's pretty much what I got, and then I just started working and getting that ball rolling. And I wanted to be a doctor, oddly, but it's just too expensive. I was literally talking to people, and they're like, "Dude, the amount of debt you go into, and it's just so much." Back then it was close to $100K. They were saying it would cost. Now I'm sure it's way more than that. 1 year, Trump's economy is defying all experts. It's one of the most amazing things that we're seeing right now. Everybody said that the economy was going to collapse, that the tariffs were going to cause inflation, that all these world is dying scenarios, things that, frankly, they were hoping they could blame Trump for, right, with the economy and everything. But what he's actually done is actually brought stability, brought strength to our economy, and set us up for being able to handle what's coming. And right now, compared to all the G7 nations, all the Western nations, we are hands down way ahead of any of them in our ability to, our GDP right now, everyone else is showing deficits. We're actually showing extra money coming in through the tariffs, which again, it's going to be interesting when the Supreme Court finally rules on that. I'm pretty sure this is my guess. They're going to say something to the effect of, he's allowed to do it because Congress gave him the power to do it way back when. If Congress doesn't want the president to be able to use tariffs, then they should do it through Congress and take that power from him and put it back in their hands. That's going to be my guess, especially considering what all's happening. It might be a 5-4 or something weird like that, but they're gonna have to let them kind of keep moving on tariffs. Otherwise, it literally will destroy this nation. And I don't think the majority of the Supreme Court wants that to happen. I don't think so. Again, we'll find out how bought and paid for they actually are. But Trump's plan is definitely working. Now, funny, silver went up almost 11% over the weekend. Friday specifically, it went up over 10%. Now, it's getting hammered today, which is what we expected. They won. They had to get it under the $80 mark. So they've managed to do that in a few fell swoops. It was up over 82 this morning when it first started trading, and now it's down to 71. It's saying it's only down $5.81, but it's down $12 right now. So silver's taking a big crap. Again, not a surprise. The fact that it's moving so much is super concerning. And there's a very, very strong chance we're going to see it spike again. And when it does, it's going to take out a lot of these shorts. So what probably happened is many were suspecting that a lot of these calls came due. And so there was a big buy of silver of those calls, which caused probably the price to come down a little bit or some sort of loss in some way. A lot of people are going to be buying into this low right now, though. So it's going to be, again, it's going to be interesting. One thing, if you got silver, hang on to it. Don't get rid of it. Don't get excited about the dollars. First off, it's Federal Reserve notes that you're getting for it, which are more and more worthless every single day. Every single day, they're losing buying power. So yeah, the stock market's in a decent place. I think we're down for the day. Confidence is down as well. When the VIX is up, confidence is down. When the VIX is down, confidence is up. It's backwards. Don't know why. I don't know why they just didn't do it in the other direction. Makes more sense, but whatever. So Dow's down a little bit. Everything's kind of hurting today, oddly. I wonder what currencies are looking like. Let's check that. FX. So yeah, everything's down there too. So yeah, this is strange. Dollars, I guess, having a strong day for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of the news with Trump. Yeah. Crypto's mixed. XRP moved up the list. I think it used to be fourth. Whatever. We're moving in the right direction. But here's the thing. If you got a 401k or an IRA, strongly recommend you divest a bunch of that into your precious metals. Precious metals IRA, you're going to be protecting your buying power. And that's really what it comes down to. What you're actually able to buy with those dollars, well, you buy as much gold and silver as you can right now, and then that locks in the buying power. Now, as the price of silver continues to skyrocket, you're actually going to make money there, probably quite a bit. Gold's going to keep you afloat. Gold's going to guarantee that your buying power is consistent, like we've used as an example before. This 1 ounce gold coin back in 1913 would buy you a fully handmade tailored suit. Today, this 1 ounce gold coin will buy me a fully handmade tailored suit. The buying power has not been lost. You don't make money on this. When the economy's great, you don't stay in precious metals. This is where you're going to try to move it into either A, treasury notes, the new currency that we end up with, or you try to acquire stuff, farm equipment or a house or whatever. And you can utilize it at that point and try to transfer it into something. Either way, you don't hang on to precious metals when everything's good. You get into precious metals when things are getting crazy. That's what we're seeing. The Federal Reserve note is dying. How quickly that death happens, don't know, but you're going to see the prices of gold and silver spike, and silver's going up because there's a shortage of it, and it's being used in production of all sorts of things, solar panels, the chips, batteries, a bunch of different stuff silver's being used for. And there's a short supply of it. Get a hold of it while you can. Goldco's got a lot of different suppliers. They're an incredible way to do it, so get your 401k or your IRA switched over into a precious metals backed IRA. You'll be grateful you did, and you'll love the results you see. Get as much of it moved over as you can, tax-free, penalty-free. Right? That's what they're going to do. Tax-free, penalty-free. They move it sideways. They don't give it to you. They can't. That's a payout, and you get penalized and taxed. It's precious metals. It's physical metals. They put it in a trust. They get as much of it as they can. You decide how much gold and silver you want. It's kind of up to you. You're also going to get up to 10% free silver from Goldco, which is huge when you think about the way that these multipliers are going to kick in. The price of silver is expected to likely break 200 by the end of next year. We're already broke 82, and it dropped down. Sure, it's going to go back up. And again, this 80 was a huge psychological barrier, and they're desperately trying to push that back down. It's not going to stay down. It's going to pop back up. Get in while you can. Get in and get as much of it as you can while the prices are still affordable, because those things are changing. Also, if you can call within like 20 minutes, I think when you put the information in, a little phone number is going to pop up. You're going to end up getting the Ronald Reagan coin. It's a half-ounce silver coin, 0.999% pure. Just a beautiful coin, collector's coin. And just in you know what it's worth right now, it's worth $35 right now. Earlier today, it was worth $41. It's changed a little bit, but just on weight in silver, collector's value, it's worth way more than that. It's actually pretty cool. And it's them saying, hey, thank you for giving us a chance to show you how we can help you protect your wealth. Go to the people I trust. I love these guys. Goldco's amazing. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system before you lose all your buying power. That Federal Reserve note's crap. Crapola. So we got illegal entries in Arizona we've seen plummet 60% since Trump's gotten in. Fewer gotaways and everything else. Apparently, Arizona seems to be one of the places where we still maybe have people getting in, because it's odd that I thought we had the border pretty much sealed. Maybe they're still working on putting some wall up. All things said, it's gone way down. They're catching a lot of people. In fact, they caught some 65,000 illegal border crossers were apprehended in Arizona, and that's in the fiscal year of 2025. So that is impressive, to say the least. All right, it's got some crazy fraud going on. First off, this is pretty funny. Nick Shirley's Minnesota Somali fraud video just crossed 100 million views on X. Good job, brother. That is super cool. Super cool. Now, Tim Walz is pushing back on Minnesota fraud allegations. You're going to kind of love this. Like, this is so them.
This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy.
So it sounds to me, Nick, that Governor Tim Walz is saying that you and others that are out there trying to expose this, you're doing it because you're white supremacists. What is your response to him?
Yeah, Tim wants votes. There are entire apartment complexes where white people have been pushed out of these apartment complexes because Somalians have taken over and they're inside of these towns like Minneapolis, where they can go get votes from these people. And if you have 100,000 people that will vote for you because you're going to enable and let this stuff happen, and because you're going to call white person racist for calling out facts, this is what's going to happen to a state like Minnesota. Minnesotans, they say Minnesota nice, but they are very upset. And I totally understand why they're upset, because they don't have a governor who's actually working for them. He's actually working against them.
Nick, your video's been viewed 93 million times. What do you think will be the result of this? Do you think that things will change because of bringing attention to this, or do you think it'll be much the same, swept under the rug and keep moving forward?
Yeah, there better be change. People are demanding it. The investigations have been launched just from that video alone. And so there better be change because, like I said, we work way too hard to be paying taxes. We work way too hard to be not knowing where our money's going. And at the end of the day, the people in the government, they work for us. We don't work for them. And so it's their responsibility to hold these people accountable. And so if there's not something that's happened, people are going to be very frustrated. And so if President Trump's watching this, it's time to really get down to nitty gritty and to make a difference in this place of Minnesota that is pretty much like Somaliland right now.
Yeah, Somaliland is right. And so, yeah, we're seeing the movement. Now, this was hilarious. The fraud father, who put this, I don't know who initially made this meme, but you got to love it, right? Pretty funny. Now, this is bothersome. Patriot News put this out. Or C3, I guess, shared it. Yeah. Top 5 largest Somali communities in America. So this is the homework for anybody that lives in any of these areas. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, 86,000. Columbus, Ohio, 50,000. Seattle, Tacoma, Washington, 30,000. San Diego, 20,000. Portland, Maine, 15,000. We already know about Maine. Maine's popping up, and it's the lowest of the top 5 when it comes to the fraud and abuse that we're already seeing there. Of course, Minneapolis, Minnesota is out of control, outrageous, and we can expect much the same in the other 3 communities. They're all riddled with fraud. Investigate them all. Billions stolen from us. Liberals have allowed rampant corruption and fraud. They have. And they continue to. The Small Business Association is cutting off grants to Minnesota after Nick Shirley's reporting on the Somali fraud. They literally said, we're done. We're cutting off all this funding right now until we can look into stuff. We don't trust you anymore. You are not doing your job, Minnesota. And they've already uncovered, in one day, this dude uncovers $110 million of fraud at a Leering center. Yeah, no, sorry. That's not going to fly. So again, we've got people in Trump's, Loeffler, in Trump's circle that are doing the hard stuff. And they're willing to do it. So good job, Kelly. Appreciate you. Again, I talked about how he has pretty people around him, right? Like, again, he does it on purpose. Hegseth, her, Alina Habba, Kate Leavitt, all these people, who's knocked up again, by the way. Very good. Tim Walz's office claims he worked for years to stop fraud as investigation heats up. Worked years, did you? Huh. Took a dude one day to find all sorts of fraud. He's not even in government. He doesn't even have access to all the stuff you guys have access to. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I'm going to say you actually weren't trying to find fraud. I would say you were probably doing your best to cover up fraud. Retard Walz. Today's charges are exactly the type of strong action we need from prosecutors to put fraudsters behind bars. That's why we shut down housing stabilization services and hired an outside firm to audit these programs. I wonder if that was some sort of Somali firm. Wouldn't that be not a surprise? Yeah, they're not going to tolerate fraud. Really? You're already putting out another program, Tim, that's going to be abused. The one with people can just take time off of work and make the company pay for it. And you can do it for a family member. If you have a sick family member and you need to get extended leave so you can take care of them, that's now been okayed by Tim Walz. That's going to be abused beyond words. What, so my Somali dad of 12 children, all 12 of the kids are going to go and say, yeah, we got to take care of my dad. And they're going to continue to get paid without doing anything. Then, again, we know the money is going back to Somalia, helping gang lords, helping do all sorts of crazy radical stuff, and what it's doing here in this state. So it's just insane what's going on, right? Tim Walz bragged about childcare businesses in Minnesota during VP debate before the $9 billion Somali fraud scandal came to light. He was literally bragging about this. Oh, I'm glad we're catching it. Oh, were you? Because you were bragging about it during the vice president's debate.
We in Minnesota passed a paid family medical leave. You have a child, you and I had to go back to work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start. The family works better. We stay in their employers. We get more consistency in that. So Kamala Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota, and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business state. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family and medical leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
The children that you want. Kind of a funny way to state that. But again, yeah, rampant with fraud and abuse, this wonderful product that he's bragging about. So yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so, Walls. Polymarket, they put this out. Breaking. It has been revealed a registered voter in Minnesota can vouch for up to 8 other voters in their precinct. No ID or proof of residency required. They can just vouch for them. Yeah, Somalis all over the place. And you got to wonder how many illegal Somalians are actually there right now. Minnesota Up North Lake guy posted this, talking about that Polymarket registered voters. Says, wait until Polymarket finds out Democrats in Minnesota passed a law to allow people to claim a general physical area, like a park or a highway underpass, as their residential address when they register to vote on Election Day. They literally can just state a physical area as their address. It's insane. Minnesota Soros County Attorney Mary Moriarty let Somali rapist, I can't even say his name, walk with no prison time, and then he commits the crime again. I think this is going to tell us about this. Check it out.
This is Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty. There are reports that the Trump administration is planning to send ICE agents here to the Twin Cities to target our neighbors of Somali descent. This is part of a recent pattern to single out our Somali community members. This is rooted in the idea that if they spew hatred, it will divide us. But we won't let that happen. There are no roving gangs of Somali people in this community harassing, threatening, doing anything to any of our community members. And let me repeat that again, because I've heard this often. There are no roving gangs of Somalis targeting or harassing or doing anything inappropriate to any community members. Those are simply lies. It is not true. Our office at the Hennepin County Attorney's Office here will not assist in any way, shape, or form in any of these ICE raids. From our small business owners to our healthcare workers, to our Lyft and Uber drivers, to children growing up in Cedar Riverside and families shopping at the Carmel Mall, our Somali community members are what makes Minneapolis one of the finest places in the world to live. We will not let Trump's hatred divide us. We will stand side by side with our Somali community members.
Denial's the longest river in Africa, isn't it? Oh, strange. Anyway, yeah. So Minnesota Soros County Attorney Mary Moriarty let Somali rapist Abdehamat Mohammed walk with no prison time. He was released after raping multiple women, including a minor. Then he did it again. I repeat, there are no roving gangs. Oh, sorry, it's one individual? Is that not a roving gang? Is that where you're technically correct? Minnesota's bad shape right now. And again, this is just cracking it open. This is getting the attention. Everyone's talking about this, aren't they, right now? Yeah. Yeah, this is all part of a plan. Trump and us are controlling this a lot more than the deep state wants. And even with the people on our side of the fence that keep trying to screw stuff up, we're still ultimately pushing forward in the direction we need to. McDonald's locks dining room doors in uptown Minneapolis amid rising crime. They literally are locking the doors from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. I assume they keep them locked after whatever. They're keeping the doors locked in the regular business part of the, and it's protect, because I guess people keep getting beat up or threatened. You got homeless people that are camping out inside and all sorts of crazy stuff happening. So literally this McDonald's is like, yeah, we're no longer going to allow our stores to be open. You want to order something, go through the drive-thru. Otherwise, which middle finger do you want to look at? Another place in Minnesota, Minneapolis as well, this weird FDA-regulated facility that stores all sorts of different medicines over the counter and all sorts of other stuff. But it's a lot of stuff that the FDA actually controls, manages, whatever, right? It's under their umbrella. Well, this distributor, they're recalling its FDA-regulated products because of the presence of bird and rodent feces at a Minneapolis facility. Minneapolis-based Gold Star Distribution, Inc. said on December 26th that is recalling all of its FDA-regulated products, including over-the-counter cold and flu medications, dietary supplements, pet foods, cosmetics, medical devices, and foods that were distributed in locations primarily in Minnesota. I'm sure a coincidence. I'm sure it's a coincidence. Just happens to be a coincidence that they've got this huge problem with salmonella contamination and rodent and avian contamination and insanitary conditions and stuff. Just saying. Austin, Texas, well, they had funds that were allegedly sent to fake companies. This individual is being looked into, or I think they're criminally looking into him, whatever the case is. He was a then employee, and he was part of City of Austin's energy utility. He allegedly paid $980,000 in taxpayer funds to fictional companies with bank accounts belonging to his family members. Folks, this stuff is happening everywhere. Everywhere. The fraud is out of control. Everyone is doing it. Now, here is the biggest problem that nobody's talking about. And this is my favorite thing. Ooh, politicians. All right, cool. So let's get rid of all the politicians. And then what? Replace them with who? Who? Which one of you out there literally wouldn't take bribes? Seriously. How many of you out there actually have the moral character? I'm not saying you don't exist. I'm saying there's probably a bunch of you. I hope. I pray. But how many of you actually have the moral character to where you wouldn't be able to be bought and paid for? And I would say that's our problem. Human nature, unfortunately, is somewhat flawed when it comes to greed, when it comes to fraud, when it comes to lying. It's just odd how it is that way. And unfortunately, the people that tend to be more guilty of these types of behaviors tend to gravitate towards positions of power. People that don't necessarily want greed, or probably would be very hard to buy and pay for, aren't necessarily people that want to be politicians. So that is, honestly, in my opinion, the single biggest problem that we actually have in this country. We're coming to terms with the fact that we've got huge problems in government. I think people are starting to wake up to that in big ways. But the obvious follow-up is, all right, who do we replace them with? And I pray and I think and I hope that we do have enough people. I mean, if you think you only have to, come up with like 450 or 550, 540, whatever it is, people for Congress. It's not that many. But again, hard to say. $980,000 that just went to bank accounts that belonged to his family. God, it's awesome. Fraud's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Chuck Grassley is demanding the FBI release Anthony Weiner's laptop records in the Clinton Foundation probe. This is huge. And I want to say huge in the fact that, what's on the laptop is arguably so scandalous. From what we understand, and I'm going to let her tell us again because her words are interesting, and then we'll read what's below it because it's kind of funny. John McAfee's account, I don't think it's actually him, but his account posts some very good stuff. It's probably related to him in some way.
On top of that, there's the Anthony Weiner laptop, which I don't know if you heard this. I wrote an article about that too. 675,000 Clinton emails when they got Anthony Weiner's laptop in a search warrant because of all his sex perversion issues. It was all the Clinton emails, the Clinton Foundation, her Secretary of State emails, Huma Abedin's emails. Lots of people emailed Huma as a proxy for Hillary, and it included what Comey called sorry, I must wave my hands more than most people. The golden emails, because they were the BlackBerry backup emails that they were supposedly just looking for everywhere very diligently. Well, guess what they did when they found them on the Wiener laptop? They got a search warrant for things that didn't include the BlackBerry backup emails. So when they told us, when he stood there and said that day, oh, you know, we've reviewed all the emails now, there's nothing there, that was a bald-faced lie. They specifically did not look at the BlackBerry backups, and they didn't look at a fraction of the emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop. So one of the things, if I were the president, I'd do is demand the Anthony Weiner laptop and get it to the most trusted person in the military to take apart everything on it and then start using it. There's a lot that can be prosecuted, I have no doubt, on that laptop. In fact, I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up. It's bad.
Yeah, very bad is what we understand it to be. Now, what's interesting also, 9 out of the 12 NYPD officers that allegedly went through the Anthony Weiner laptop committed suicide. 9 out of the 12 committed suicide. All 9 of them died by self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the head. My guess is the other 3 didn't actually see the laptop, or at least were smart enough to say, nah, I never looked at it, man. I heard it was disgusting. Okay, you don't have to kill yourself at home tonight. 9 out of the 12 people that saw it, they say, that went through the laptop, committed suicide. So now we've got Grassley actually asking to get that information out. It's weird. Grassley, I like him at times, and then it's like, but you won't get rid of the stupid blue slip thing. Okay. Why? Now, maybe we don't need to, and I do think this is part of the, I'm going to call it grift. I know it's maybe not totally the appropriate way to use it, but I think part of Trump's grift kind of against the deep state is make it look like you're weak when you're strong. Now, you've got people running around, oh, he's talking about the executive order. He's putting it, it's going to happen any day now, any day now, any day now. Now, Trump's going to do it when time's right. He's put a lot of things in place already. And right now, I personally, and hopefully you guys are too, we're seeing the, like I've said, heating up of very specific areas. So obviously Minneapolis, Minnesota, with all the corruption, that's going to be a hot spot. And that same understanding is going to get applied to a whole bunch of different places, especially blue places. A lot of the budget deficits and the tax raising that they're talking about doing, California, I'm sure, is the worst, hands down. And when they finally are able to look into it, we're going to find all sorts of craziness. We're going to find the same thing with elections. I've got some news coming up in regards to that in a second, as far as some of these people just straight up avoiding the law, and they definitely don't have a right to do that. So we've got some interesting cases that need to make it to the Supreme Court. Or, again, it's going to be part of Trump's executive order, and he's going to say, here's why. I've got examples all over the place of where we have a problem. So here's what's going to happen. This is all heating up. And it's got to build, and it's got to keep building, and it's got to build all the way through up to the elections. And Trump's going to be doing his standard. He's going to be doing the rallies. He's going to be all over the place. Again, while he's trying to run the country, he's going to be going to crazy places and probably doing all sorts of stuff. Congress, in what has become a too familiar situation, is going to return back to, now again, this article, it's kind of funny how they burned Congress a little bit on this, but Senate's returning on January 5th, and January 6th is when the House is coming back. We don't have any of the funding stuff, the budget's done. 0 of the budget's done. They know, we don't yet, but some of us that are pretty sure, kind of have our finger on the pulse, if you will. We know that they are going to shut the government down again. What they use to blame it, we'll see. I think the thing that they were chucking around recently, I don't remember what it was just so stupid that it was like, all right, we're not going to get anywhere with that. So they need something. They'll manufacture something if they have to, but they're running out of time. There's something that they're going to have to be pissed off about. Maybe it's because the ACA thing already expired. It was going to anyway. The second on November 1st, when open enrollment began, there was no way they could do anything about it at that point. Open enrollment began. If you've ever worked at a company, open enrollment, there's no changes. After open enrollment's done, you're done too. There's no changing anything. So the subsidies went away. Now, in reality, the insurance companies or the healthcare companies or whatever should say these 22 million people are going to get some sort of discount from their side. That's how this should play out. These guys are making record profits. So theoretically, they should just be like, they should offer up something kind to these people that just had their rates go through the roof. It's certainly not us taxpayers' fault. The other 300 million of us that aren't necessarily affected the same way. Is it all our fault? No, it's not. So this has to be dealt in a different way. And just giving the money to the insurance companies, obviously, is not the right way to go, as much as a lot of people see it from a very personal experience. I have one individual that reaches out to me a lot that's got a lot of health issues, and obviously this type of stuff freaks him out a lot, and I get it. But at the same time, that shouldn't necessarily be everybody's problem, right? Like, I mean, again, there's insurance and there's stuff, there's things that are there, but to cause everyone else to have to pay an abnormally higher amount because there's some sickly people in this world, in this country, maybe we got to deal with the sickly people differently. First off, our healthcare and our medicine's a mess. The way we manage it's a mess. The way our whole entire medical structure is based is a mess. It's not wellness, it's unhealthy. They want you sick. They want you unhealthy. That's our whole, they don't want you dead, right? They want you just barely not dead, but they want you so you still are able to make money and pay for all the stupid stuff that they want to shove down your throat. It's disgusting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, that it might be the thing they still try to blame it on. My guess is probably a good chunk of the 22 million people, or I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I wonder how politics fits into sickness. I don't know. Bondi is asking prosecutors to probe the Obama-Biden lawfare as criminal conspiracy. So she's asking them to push this direction. Now, the fact that she's doing this, which is fantastic, I love the people that are giving her a hard time, too. It's cracking me up. I'm like, whatever. I'm just losing respect. There's some certain people I'm just like losing respect for. It's just like, wow, I feel like you're on the wrong side of so many things. It's weird. But Bondi is saying, let's do this as a criminal conspiracy. That means that statutes of limitations do not matter. So such an approach allows prosecutors to charge defendants with alleged crimes outside the statute of limitations because they were connected to an ongoing conspiracy, much like these cases brought against the mafia and drug cartels. Quote, at my direction, our U.S. attorneys and federal agents are actively investigating instances of government weaponization nationwide. This is a 10-year stain on the country committed by high-ranking officials against the American people. Under President Trump, we are fixing the damage and delivering justice. An unprecedented number of documents to Congress about government weaponization, far more than prior administrations, or they've released anyways. And that's pretty much it for the quotes. But she said that the evidence laid the predicate for the conspiracy case. Bondi did not identify where prosecutors are conducting the investigations, but officials told Just the News a large part of the probe is being done in Florida, where President Trump's home was raided in 2022. That's like the easy one to start with for the conspiracy, because there were so many people involved in it. They obviously didn't have proper evidence to even go in there. We got that, so that information's out. This is probably going to be close to a slam dunk case. And the people that get caught up in it, they'll burn. Like Smith is going to burn. They'll burn him. But that's going to be, they're going to try to sacrifice him, but it's going to go above him. It's going to go way above him. New York's going to, well, it's going to go all the way up to Obama, frankly, folks. New York's going to demand warning labels on social media platforms. It just seems so weird when you let states kind of get into this type of stuff. Okay, whatever. I mean, people are going to use VPNs if they need to. But this is cool. I mean, again, this social media is addictive. Social media is literally rewiring anyone's brain, not just kids, anyone's brain. I watched my girlfriend. She's just crazy on stupid Facebook. I can't stand it. And it's just like, whatever. She got the jab too. She got the Johnson & Johnson. I still think that was the best choice. And everyone's like, it hurts your heart. Really? And you think the other ones that have been proven to hurt your heart far more? They got rid of one of them. Why do you think they got rid of it? Because it actually worked, is what many were saying. Many were saying the Johnson & Johnson shot actually kind of worked. And that was the reason why I told her, I go, if you have to get one, that's the one to get. They actually use real virus in it. And the other two were like that synthetic mRNA crap. There's something slightly different with that Johnson & Johnson one. They didn't like it. That's why they got rid of it. Not that it was good. Okay, I'm not promoting it. I didn't get it. I wasn't crazy enough. I can't control her. She's her own person. She's her own keeper. I told her don't. She did. All right. What am I going to do? Push her out in the cold? Ooh, that's an idea. No, I'm just kidding. Keeping New Yorkers safe. That's her top priority, Kathy Hochul says. I mean, we'll let criminals out on the street and let them catch you on fire on the subways and stuff like that. That's different. Okay, I mean, come on. But we're going to keep you safe when you're online and you're using Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and these stupid ass programs that I don't like any of them, frankly. Maybe whatever. They're going to put some warning while it's on there that this is addictive. Like, kids aren't going to care. Now, if it pops up in the middle of the video and is annoying, that's going to be bad for business, which is interesting. I don't know how this one plays out. I kind of don't like, it's like AI. I don't like the fact that states can actually try to force AI research into a certain direction. I absolutely think that's a horrible idea. And the people that you make the argument are the ones that are in the more conservative states and are like, well, we can keep it from taking advantage of the children and all this stuff. And it's like, but what about the foreign companies that make like right now, TikTok's still in the hands of China. They don't care. So if anything, I think we should have our AI like tuned to the whole 9 yards so it can find something. It can see it. It shouldn't be used to control us. It's a tool. All these things are tools, but it should be able to identify when someone is, like when China's AI is attacking us. It should be able to see that. So again, it just bugs me a little bit with states because I live in California. California will tell you all what kind of cars you can drive. Is that literally what you want? Literally. They're going to say that then X can't have freedom of speech, right? Like, I mean, where does the line happen? That's why I don't like the idea of the states doing it. I think a lot of this stuff should be, unfortunately, from a federal level, as much as I would have, back when the deep state was more in charge. There still are, but not as much, I think. U.S. Supreme Court's urged to take up Maine's parental right case. This has to do with all the different transgender stuff, DEI stuff. This had to do specifically with a daughter, a parent. And I guess this counselor had got her to, what do they strap it when they strap down their boobs or whatever? Chest binder, they call it. And to go by different names and different pronouns. Never consulted their parents, never let them know, and they kept it a secret. It's 13-year-old. So you've got groomers messing with children that are 13 and pushing them in directions. This is a counselor at a school. That is so scary because 13-year-olds, they already hate their parents, of course. So anybody that's their friend, and the reason you're feeling weird is normal, man. So here's what you do. I think if people truly knew how bad things really were, like, we'd remove our kids from school. Like, that would be a problem, kind of. But a lot of people are homeschooling for a reason. Wisconsin Attorney General silent on state Senate probe, defiant on voter roll investigation. She says literally what the federal government is doing here is preposterous. This is again a conspiracy theory that Trump administration is chasing. Justice Department asked all states for unredacted voter lists, including names, addresses, and social security numbers. My favorite part is the government is who gives the freaking social security number. So why can't you give the government the data with the social security number? Now, we know why you don't want to. And then they talk about how, well, we audited all our stuff. Well, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. The government is who gives the freaking social security number. You can't give it to you. You can't give it to private people. You can't give it to regular people. No. The government? Yes. You freaking serious, Wisconsin? Take your cheese hat off for a second there, Josh Call. And who's the chick, too? There's another person here. Whatever. That's disgusting. Pharmakia. America's seniors are being over-medicated into oblivion, and it's definitely not something that people want to continue to do, that's for sure. And it is. There's this article is pointing out how so many of the seniors that are out there, I think they're saying they're on 8 meds a day. Yeah, at least 8 pharmaceutical drugs a day. I had a buddy that was stoked that he had all these pills. He saw each one of those pills as like, this is health. Like vitamins. This is helping me with the things that I got that are going to kill me. So, again, we're all going to die. That's pretty much a guarantee, unless this transition is similar to what might be. But let's just assume everything normal. We're all going to pass through the other side. It's pretty awesome when it happens, and you get to see friends and family again, and it's amazing. It's a fantastic experience. But these people, a lot of people, maybe some of you, got a bunch of these pills and you feel like they're your lifesavers. This is your life preserver. It's keeping you alive. But the actual reality is it's not. It's heavily medicating you. It's actually making you probably sicker. And in many cases, you probably should be looking at healing yourself in different ways. Not the way that big pharma and doctors necessarily want. Now, I'm not saying stop going, because that could be catastrophic. But I am saying make smarter choices in the directions that we're going so we don't necessarily have to take all these medicines. A great example is this product that I love dearly. And it's called Feel Great is really the name of the product. But you go to otfspecial.com. otfspecial.com. I love the Unimate. I love it. I drank it this morning. I love it. This stuff is delicious. The lemon flavor, it tastes like iced tea with lemon flavor. It's so good. It's got the yerba mate, like cactus or whatever in there. And this is actually helping. There's some other science put inside this. It's powder. You mix it in with water. You drink it. It's fantastic. You do the Unimate twice a day and then the Balance once a day. Balance helps. It's got a bunch of fiber in it, and it's also got some other chemicals that kind of help us process carbohydrates better, or even more efficiently. And in some degrees, I think it actually even helps you like not process some of them. So not all of it gets into your bloodstream. So it's helping people's blood sugar levels. Their AO1C numbers are coming down drastically. And people are losing weight. The Unimate actually helps with your food, not being hungry. Like I did it this morning before I went to the gym, and amazing. And I have not wanted to eat anything yet. Normally I would. Usually about 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready for something. That's usually when I at least snack, and then we usually eat dinner around 4 or 5, depending, roughly around there, right? And it works out, and it's helping me kind of skip that meal. It's keeping my energy up, and I'm feeling good. I feel great. It's helping a lot. Now, again, insulin resistance is something they're saying about 94% of us are experiencing. It's where a lot of this diabetes, pre-diabetes, diabetes is happening. This product is making huge differences in that. I'm going to play a short video here in a second that's going to kind of explain it a little bit. But again, snacking over eating cravings helps with that. Weight control totally helps with that. And you're going to lose it in a very healthy way. You're going to love it. You're going to love the way you feel, and you're going to love the way you're feeling as you're stepping on the scale and you're like, I lost another 2 pounds. Sweet. You're going to see it happen. Diabetes is definitely affected in this. Erectile dysfunction, gentlemen, is part of insulin resistance. Gut health, cholesterol, fatigue, depression, systemic inflammation, metabolic syndrome. We've got so many problems, like where our metabolism is so slow that you can't eat anything, and you basically are going to gain weight if you eat anything. And it's really, again, it comes back to this insulin resistance. Our bodies are not processing foods, and a lot of it's the crap foods we eat, a lot of it, and it's messed with our systems tremendously. This helps get you back to regular. This helps you get back to healthy. This helps remove some of that pharmacology that they're trying to put into your life. You'll keep taking it, and you'll go see your doctor next time, or one of the people that's monitoring your blood regularly, and you'll be like, holy crap, My blood sugar is almost, well, in one case, I had someone telling me they're doing 2 balances a day, and they actually were getting to a point where their blood sugar was dropping too low. They weren't diabetic, though. So it depends kind of how you want to come at it. But again, it can lower your blood sugar levels significantly. So it helps with a lot of the overeating. It helps with some of the cravings, all this stuff. And it certainly helps how you process these foods. Here's, like I said, a quick video to kind of explain it to you. Go to otfspecial.com, otfspecial.com, and you hit the buy now button. Actually, watch this video if you're interested. It's a very good video. And then you want to get the Unimate and the balance. It's incredible. And it'll take you right to that when you go to buy now. But check this video out.
If you're constantly battling low energy, cravings, weight control, watching your health slip away, listen up. There's a simple daily protocol they don't want you to know about that's helping people ditch their meds and reclaim their health. Up to 88% of Americans potentially suffer from some degree of insulin resistance. The Feel Great protocol is a simple 2-step daily system designed to help your body work with you, not against you. Step 1. Unimate, a powerful yerba mate extract clinically shown to boost mood, increase mental clarity, and support fat burning. Step 2. A patented fiber matrix called Balance. Taken before meals, it helps regulate blood sugar, curb cravings, and support healthy insulin response. That's it. No crazy diets, no meds, just science-backed support your body actually understands. Feel Great is perfect for you if you have low energy, weight control, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, poor sleep, diabetes, snacking, sugar cravings, gut health, systemic inflammation. This isn't a trend, it's a transformation. Start today to reclaim your health with the Feel Great protocol.
It'll change your life. And that's one of the cool parts about it is literally will change your life. Yerba mate. It's actually called Unimate too, by the way. I'll get to my favorite part of this video. I love this part of the video. There it is. Let's watch it.
Healthy insulin response. That's it. No crazy diets.
That's
no
I wanna see
meds.
that part again.
Just science.
I enjoy that part of the video. Can't help it. Can't help myself. Can't help myself. Yeah. Yerba mate. It is a powerful ingredient that is, again, helping with this insulin resistance. You guys will be amazed. otfspecial.com. otfspecial.com. We're absolutely going to love how you feel. And after a few months, you're going to love how you look, too. And how you test. Your A01C numbers are going to be significantly better. We've got one of the members of the background, our family, if you will, are going to be taking their A1C test, I think, coming up in January. So look forward to finding out. Secretary Marco Rubio posted this on X. The United States remains the most generous nation in the world for life-saving humanitarian assistance. But under POTUS's leadership, taxpayer dollars will never fund waste, anti-Americanism, or inefficiency. Today, the State Department and United Nations signed an agreement that radically reforms the way the U.S. programs, funds, and oversees UN-administered humanitarian work, ensuring that more lives will be saved for fewer U.S. taxpayer dollars. This new model will better share the burden of UN humanitarian work with other developed countries and will require the UN to cut bloat, remove duplication, and commit to powerful new impact, accountability, and oversight mechanisms. Because a lot of this humanitarian work was being stolen from. They were literally, the administrative costs is what they call it, but they have insanely high administrative costs. This is what we're seeing with the SNAP program. It's what we're seeing all over the place. And it's one of the big things that's changing all over the place. Fantastic. Nigel Farage promises to cut pensions of civil servants who let migrant rapists into the country. Any of these bureaucratic boohoos that continue to do this, he's like, yeah, I'm going to take away your pension. Right? Done. You're not getting nothing anymore. So you're going to do what we say or else. There is I can't call it a theory. Trump told us this, but nobody knows about this. Nobody knows for sure who did it, when it happened, but it looks like we attacked a land target, likely in Venezuela, and this apparently happened last week. I think they were saying, was it Christmas Eve or Friday or something? Anyway, last week, and supposedly they knocked out some big facility. We have Trump talking about it. It's probably easier because it's like not really good audio. But I'll play what he said. He said, according to the full remarks in the context, the president said, quote, "But every time I knock out a boat, we save 25,000 American lives. It's very simple. And what's happening is they're having a hard time employment-wise. They can't get anybody. And we just talked out, I don't know if you read or saw, they have a big plant or a big facility where the ships come from. 2 nights ago, we knocked that out. So we hit them very hard. But drugs are down over 97%. Can you believe it?" And he just drops this small little, yeah, we hit them. We attacked something. Now, we do have some video, potentially, of what this was, this attack. They're suggesting that it might be this in San Francisco. There's a local reporter commentary. A new large explosion was reported from the industrial zone of the San Francisco municipality, the Zulia State, in early morning on December 24th. So again, here's a little of it.
Cerquitica de NASA. Si no logran apagar esa verga rápido. Mal parecido. Para ustedes reportando, Diego informa y Gerardo Decora presente.
So not sure if we had another secondary, it looks like.
Fondo de NASA.
I think those are secondaries because you don't hear anything. Normally, if something was coming in, you'd likely hear it. I mean, it could be a glide bomb maybe because they don't generally make noise, but if it was any sort of cruise missile, you would probably hear the engines, at least, humming. So yeah, there's just a lot of secondary explosions, it seems like. I don't know what they blew up here, but it's like natural gas or something. It's explosive, that's for sure, right? And you keep seeing it in the same general place. So something's gurgling, if you will. It's all happening in that same spot. Anyway, very interesting what's going on. So we don't know for sure. Trump admits we attacked something. This may just be totally a separate thing altogether. Could have just happened. CIA could have been behind this. Who knows? Special forces. Don't know. Don't know if Trump went in there and, we had some guys sneak in and put some explosives and sneak out. Don't know if we hit him with cruise missiles. No idea. Trump's like, yeah, we hit him. You probably read it somewhere. Nobody's reported this anywhere. This is as close to a report as we got. Ukraine is supposedly ready for peace. Zelensky thanks Trump after the great meeting, but it doesn't really seem like that's the case. Zelensky wants a 50-year security guarantee. Trump was saying 15 years. Maybe we can extend it a little further after. He's like, no, we want something like 30, 40, or 50 years. We've been at war for 15 years. I'm like, well, that's not our fault. Yeah, so Zelensky is trying to ask for things that are pretty far outside of what's possible. There is supposedly some disagreement around Donbass and how that's going to be handled. Russia says large Ukrainian drone just attacked Putin's residence, one of his residences. Nothing got through, but they sent something like 91 drones, apparently. They were able to shoot them down or destroy them with anti-drone technology. I don't exactly know how they're fighting it. I assume to a degree that's somewhat of a tightly kept secret. Otherwise, they'd learn how to modify drones so they're not as easy to take down. But these drones were attacking President Putin's official residence in the Novgorod region. And this was Sunday night into Monday. So, yeah, he's pissed. He's like, obviously this is, because going after presidential palaces is sort of off limits. Like assassinating presidents, like what they did with Trump. That's off limits. Now, it wasn't a country that was behind assassinating Trump, as much as a lot of people want to say it was Israel. It's not, or Iran, that was the other one. It's not a country, it's the deep state. The deep state was behind that attack. Whoever they wanted to use as the patsy is who they wanted to use as the patsy. So similar situation here. The Ukrainians, deep state Ukrainian people, launched an attack against the presidential palace, which is a big no-no. If any of those would have gotten through, it would have been a big black eye for Putin. And they've already had enough. They took out a submarine, and they took out the Moskva, which was one of their flagships. I mean, the Moskva was an amazing ship as far as Russia's Navy is concerned. And damn, like it still blows my mind that they actually smoked the Moskva. That almost shouldn't have happened. Even with American weapons, which they likely used, that shouldn't have. I mean, yeah, Russia just. It was probably a good test for us. We probably used some sort of new technology that is a little stealthy, and they just didn't see it coming. And it smoked that boat. Now, we got China doing something similar. We'll get there in a second, or multiple seconds. Trump is shocked by Ukrainian attack on Putin's residence. Trump was not happy about this. It's like, that's crazy. Said the Russian side made it clear that such reckless actions would certainly not go unanswered, is what they're saying. The U.S. president, according to Putin, was shocked by the news and expressed outrage, stating that he could not have imagined such crazy action on the part of Kiev. And I believe it. I actually believe that's what Trump would have said. I think England's behind it. Putin knows it. So far, this Dmitry fella has been very clear about how it's the West, he calls them, but he's very specific to say those in Europe. Never, ever does he mention the United States. Russia and the United States are definitely not at war. We have made peace. Europe and Russia have not. And that is the proxy war that's happening in Ukraine. And Europe can't do it, not without us. And we're done with it. We're like, no, we're not doing this anymore. In fact, we're going to boogie out of NATO, probably. Coming up, 27, I think they're expecting leadership to sort of change a bit. Obviously, we know they're spending more money, or their own money. And Europe's trying to be douchey about it, too. They're like, we're not going to buy your weapons, American. We're going to make our own. It's like, all right, if you want to have inferior weapons, that's fine. I don't care. Your guys' stuff sucks. Some of it's decent, all right? I'll give you that. It's decent, but it sucks. You want the good stuff, you got to pay for it. That's how it comes. Trump blockade leaves $1 billion of Venezuelan crude stranded on tankers. They're figuring it's just shy of $1 billion. But of all the tankers that are floating around that have oil on them and stuff, they're figuring that's about $1 billion worth of oil. That's a lot of money for Cuba, Venezuela, not China per se. And for China, it's not the money as much as the oil. This is actually going to affect China a little bit. It's about 15%, I think they were saying, of China's oil typically comes from Venezuela. That's not happening anymore. Supposedly Chevron, I think I'm getting Chevron 17% of their total exports. Chevron's still allowed to export oil, which is an American company. There's been a lot of, again, the same person that's running around putting a lot of questions about Todd Blanche, putting a lot of questions about Pam Bondi. Same individuals putting questions on, was it Nunes or was it, I know Marco Rubio was in his list. This guy's such a, I've lost so much respect for this individual. It just blows my mind. So blows my mind. And he's huge. He's not like my boy. It's not my boy Alpha. I'll say that. I love Alpha. He's good. Actually, I've watched a couple of his videos. I actually kind of like the direction Alpha's taking stuff. He's kind of less conspiratorial than he used to be. I like that. Again, conspiracies are fun, but you got to try to be a little bit responsible when you're doing broadcasting. Chevron is still importing from Venezuela, and it doesn't appear that it's going to stop anytime soon. So they get a waiver, I guess. It's only about 17%, they say. But I think China gets a good, decent percentage of their oil, I think, comes from them. That's why they've been trying to work some deals with Russia. I think they're trying to create a pipeline so they can help, and it helps Russia as well. So, again, sanctions just teach people how to get around sanctions. That's all they do. They work for a short period of time. Long term, they force people to make changes where they don't need you anymore, or they don't need the things that you're sanctioning anymore. And then so you lose all your power. It's like right now with us with Russia. We can't sanction Russia anymore, really, because there's nothing to sanction. They're not on the SWIFT system. They're not using American companies. There's nothing we can sanction. We can't. Oh, we're going to blockade your shipments to China? Like, we're not going to do that. That would be two major powers that we'd be trying to get in the middle of. Yeah, that ain't happening. So it's not going well. Now, this, of course, on Zero Hedge, fear porn for China is out. And it's a carrier killer hypersonic missile launched from a destroyer. Oh, no. Again, we've got stuff that they don't necessarily know about. We got stuff that's impressive. We've also got lasers on some of these carriers and Aegis ships right now. We've got stuff. And yeah, a hypersonic missile, even though it might be moving around and stuff, yeah, it makes it hard to hit with a missile. It's like hitting a bullet with a bullet. Very hard to do. But hitting a missile with a laser, not actually hard to do. And traveling at Mach 5, which is what they say it'll do, it's not hard to cause problems with it. Now, again, distance from target is critical because at Mach 5, you're traveling extraordinarily fast. Now, 5 times the speed of sound. It depends on what your altitude is and all that, but you're going very, very fast. And again, some of these hypersonic missiles that they've got that go up into the upper atmosphere and come back down, those things are doing Mach 6, Mach 7, Mach 8, even as high as Mach 10. Up in their upper parts, they can be going pretty fast. So again, this is a big deal. I don't know. China's kind of making a big deal about it. I think, again, this is meant to be scare. This is China trying to act strong when they're weak. I don't think China's all... I think they're more of a paper tiger right now than they want to admit. I don't think they've got the experience. They don't have enough. Again, they can take down one of our aircraft carriers. All right, cool. We got a bunch of them, by the way. You only have 3, China. 2 of them are old. One of them's sort of new. And you stole most of that you stole almost all that technology from us. Here's the video.
准备发射，发射！导弹命中，目标击毁。
Yeah, whatever. Again, it's stupid. Oh, yeah, I saw something that North Korea launched a cruise missile or something. Okay, yay. China launches Justice Mission 2025, and war games are circling Taiwan right now, trying to mess with them, doing a whole lot of crazy stuff. Guarantee you they didn't load up any of their ferries with a bunch of tanks yet, but I guarantee when those types of things start to happen and we start seeing those things set and sail, that'll be interesting. And they'll have to practice with those a little bit because they're going to be very heavy. That'd be one thing I'd be very curious about. It's one thing to load a ferry up with a bunch of cars. It's another thing to load it up with a bunch of tanks. Tanks are way heavier than cars. Nigerians applaud Trump's military strikes on Islamic terrorists. So it's like, they're stoked. They love it. In fact, they're talking. I think yesterday I shared an article where they're like, we got some more targets. If you don't mind throwing some weapons down on them. They're also trying to get weapons from us. Well, I hope we're very careful about that because that sounds like a recipe for disaster. I feel like we've been down that road a few times. Apparently, Benjamin Netanyahu, he held a joint conference call from Florida with entrepreneur Elon Musk, Minister of Transportation Miri Regev, and the head of the National AI Headquarters, Erez. In the framework of the conversation, Musk responded to my invitation and Minister Regev's invitation to participate in the Smart Transportation Conference that will be held in March. Additionally, we discussed the continuation of collaborations with Tesla and the promotion of the law pertaining to autonomous vehicles. I spoke at length with Musk about promoting and developing artificial intelligence technologies in Israel. And I said in our conversation, we intend to catapult Israel and turn it into a global leader in the field. He wants to steal the AI technology from Musk. I am sure Musk knows that. And so he's probably going to play this carefully. But there's no way the Mossad is going to let him have some sort of AI center in Israel. And they're not going to be spying or having people there specifically that are going to be stealing everything they can from Musk. Of course they are. Of course they are. So again, I'll be curious to see how Musk plays those cards. And kind of technology oriented, sort of, not really, but kind of. It's just a weird story. Sad. A lady, and this is sad. Her husband was swimming behind her. She's a triathlete. He was about 100 yards behind his wife and 13 other members of a local swimming club on December 21st when a shark got his wife. Got her. Dragged her, took her. She's gone. She's dead. They saw it. They saw the body in the shark's mouth, and that was it. That was the last that they saw of her. Now, interestingly, she had on her ankle a device that's meant to keep sharks away. So a lot of these people that swim in the open ocean like that, they will put these devices on because it's supposed to kind of keep sharks away, freaks them out a little bit or whatever. Because again, when you're swimming on the surface of the water, a shark sees you and they're like, ooh, a seal. Like you're dinner. They don't realize you're human. They normally don't eat humans, but you look like something else, especially if you're wearing like a wetsuit of some kind. Yeah, you're going to look kind of like a seal. And sharks love to eat stuff like that. So yeah, this lady unfortunately got eaten. And only 2 shark attacks have actually occurred in this particular area. And now everybody's like, no one's ever going to swim there again. It's like, really? I mean, shark attacks happen all over the place. All over the place, shark attacks happen. It's funny is they're like, 97% of shark attacks happen next to land. It's like, well, duh, that's where the people are swimming. 3% of people swimming out in the open ocean? No, thank you. That's not happening. Come on now. That's crazy. So sad. Needless to say. Very sad. We've so much happening, and it's happening quickly. I see the temperature spinning up and building up around the elections, around the fraud, the waste, the abuse, all over the world. We're seeing it play out. We're seeing the Western Europe being kind of separated and removed from the rest of us. We're seeing Ukraine kind of being, well, left to accept their demise. Hopefully, at some point, they'll pull their heads out of their arses and be able to figure it out. We'll see. But a lot is happening. A lot is changing. We are making a huge difference. It's you guys that's doing it. I'm proud of you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.